Well, good evening and welcome to Youth Everyone tonight. Hey, have you ever had to go to plan B? You know, the thing you were thinking of didn't work out and so you had to go with another option? Well, tonight is that video. This is the plan B video. And if you're asking, well, why is that? It's because as of Tuesday, 0 videos came in for our online jam. Now, here's the thing. Was it discouraging? Well, maybe just a little bit, but we still think it's a great idea. And so you're going to have a bit more time. We're going to do it next week. And when we're back in Zoom, Darren will talk a little bit more about that.
Hey there, Dancing Darrell here. This is a reminder to you all that next Friday is jam night. So make sure you get your submissions in. You got the whole long weekend to make something. Maybe you want to play your little guitar. Or maybe you want to do a dramatic reading from your favorite book. And there was evening and there was morning, the third day. Or maybe you got something weird and freaky you want to show us all. Or my personal favorite, maybe you want to show a dance. Whatever it is, get your submissions in by next Wednesday, May 20th. I'll see you next Friday. Bye.
To give you a little bit of an incentive, we're going to have a couple of prizes. There will be a $25 gift card. I'm not sure exactly what it will be of, for our first place winner, and then there will be a second place and a third place as well. So make sure you get your videos into us. Even if it's a TikTok that you've done in the past, just send it. We want to have a whole bunch together that we can just have a lot of fun with. So this video is going to be just a little bit shorter than it has been in the past few weeks. And speaking of weeks, this week there weren't many things that made me go, but there were a couple of things that were youth related.
Things that make you things that make you go things that make you go yeah.
So on Wednesday I brought over a chocolate milkshake to one of you guys, and as I was leaving I kind of thought, perhaps McBee's delivery could expand a little bit, and so I give you random acts of milkshakes. So that sounds pretty good. So if I show up on your door randomly next week, at least now you know why.
And now it's time for Random GIFs with Larry, the part of the show where Larry comes out and shows you a random GIF.
What are you?
An idiot sandwich.
This has been Random GIFs with Larry. Tune in next time when you'll hear Larry say,
What are you?
An idiot sandwich.
So all this talk about sandwiches and jam kind of made me go, perhaps we could theme our game today on sandwiches. So I'm going to call Ryan up here and we're going to play Finish This Sandwich. Sentence.
I mean, it's crazy.
What?
We finish each other's
Sandwiches.
That's what I was gonna say.
Okay, well, welcome here tonight, Ryan. So here's the deal. You just basically need to finish the sentence that I start. That's how simple it is. You think you can do it?
I can do it.
Okay, here comes number 1. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck?
If a woodchuck could chuck wood.
Yes! Good job. Here comes number 2. Time flies
when you're having a good time. Or fun, when you're having fun.
Yes, that's right. You're really good at this. Okay, here is the last one. If a tree falls in a forest...
Did anyone see it?
One more time. If a tree falls in a forest...
I know this one. It's didn't make a sound.
Not quite. It's
What?
actually, does anybody hear?
Oh.
Okay, but good job, good job. Sorry, Ryan, you did pretty well this time, but now it's your turn. We want to find out who's going to get a McBee's delivery tonight. So get ready to type it into the chat. The sentence starts with only 2 words. Hopefully this won't be confusing, but finish this sentence. Your guess. And that's it. Hopefully some of you got it. I'm sure one of you will when we're back in Zoom. We will let you know who I'm going to see tonight with McDonald's in hand. Now here's another grade 9 story from one of our incredible leaders.
This is me in grade 9, baby. Yeah, this is me in grade 9. This is me in grade 9. This is me in grade 9, baby. This is me in grade 9.
Hey everybody, this is me in grade 9. Love that haircut. Basically what would happen is I would let it grow as long as I possibly could until I couldn't stand it anymore, and then my mom would no guard buzz it off. And we would do that on a repeat, and I did that all the way through high school. Not important. This is me in grade 9. Also meant that I really enjoyed my grade 8 year because I was close to my cousins and lived very close to all of my family, and we saw them all the time. I had lots of friends, lived in a town that I knew and loved, and my dad took a job transfer the year that I was supposed to go into grade 9, the summer that I went into grade 9, and we moved very quickly. My parents sold their house, and we moved that summer so quickly, in fact, that I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to my friends, and that was really hard. The other thing that was really hard about going into grade 9 was that we moved to a very small village, which meant that there was no high school in town, and we needed to be bused about an hour and a half to the closest town with a high school. And lots of other towns did that very same thing. So everybody coming into grade 9 knew a friend group at least. Even if they were, introverts or didn't have many friends, they knew someone. And my brother and I, who were both in high school, or going into high school, didn't know anybody, and that was really awkward and quite frankly terrifying. And so it took a few weeks to get comfortable with the idea of being in high school, but also just to make friends and to have the sense that you could fit in somewhere. The other thing that was really cool about grade 9 that stands out to me to this day is that we switched churches at the same time because it was too far to drive to the church that we'd gone to. Not that we were regular church attenders previous to this, but my parents wanted us to grow up in the church in some fashion. And I would say that I was a Christian to anybody who would ask, but didn't have any real understanding of what that meant. When I was in grade 9, the first Sunday we went to this new church, a guy saw my family and realized that we were new and that we probably didn't know what was going on at church. So he invited me and my older brother to come to youth on Thursday that week. But he also realized that he was the same age as me, and so he invited me to come to his house that day for lunch, which was incredible, a really, really special gift. He invited me to church, further to youth ministry, but also he invited me into his home to spend time with him and with his family. And that was really cool, and it was an incredible, and it still to this day to me is an incredible reminder of what God is doing when he speaks to us through other people. God will use us to speak encouragement and love into the lives of those around us if we are willing to let him. And so my friend did that for me, and it was a great gift. And so I encourage you to do that and listen as God speaks to you. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much, Curtis, for doing that for us. I appreciate it. Even though it was a little last moment, you came through, and I am very grateful. So part of Plan B was to come up with what to talk about tonight. And so if you saw the service Sunday morning, the Mother's Day service, you'll know that I spoke. And I thought, well, I can talk a little bit about that. If you saw it, some of this will be a bit of a repeat for you. And if you didn't, well, then here it is. Finish. Speaking of finishing sandwiches, or sentences, that was actually for real. Here's one. When you were a kid, you were probably told we should always finish the things that we've started. When I was a kid, I began to really develop a love for drawing. I would spend a lot of time in my room drawing on my sketchbooks. And when I was in middle school, that's when I began getting into drawing portraits and people. And I really, really liked it. But as you can see by some of these examples here, I didn't do so well with faces. In fact, I found them really, really hard. So there's drawings where I just didn't finish them. Eventually, I started putting faces in, and it took a lot of hard work and practice, but it certainly paid off in the end. So what are some things that perhaps you haven't finished? Maybe it was a Netflix show that you started, but you didn't make it through the whole series. Or perhaps it was some video game that you started, but kind of got tired of it, didn't make it to the end. Or maybe it was, I don't know, a book, and it just started great and you were so into it, and then you kind of petered out and you never picked it up again. Probably the thing that I'm most proud of finishing was this. In 2010, that was when I turned 40, I had the goal of running a full marathon. And I was super happy when I finished it. It certainly took a lot of work to do that. Now, you guys are in the process of finishing something up too, and that is your school year. And this school year has been unlike any other school year. And it has been hard. These past few weeks that we have been in have been very difficult on a lot of levels. And as I began to think about it, I thought, training for a marathon is quite similar in some ways to what we're going through right now. So congratulations to you all. You have unintentionally signed up for a marathon. And so there's a couple of things that I thought about when training for a marathon that would be good to just throw out there. So maybe these will be some tips to just kind of help you get through your day and to help you finish this school year well. Number one is expect the unexpected. Now, I don't like to run outside when it's cold, so most of my running has been on my treadmill downstairs. And I don't know, there have been a couple of times where I'd be running and all of a sudden somebody would turn on the dishwasher upstairs and the treadmill would die, like complete stop. And you'd think you'd go flying off, but that wasn't the case. It was just very, very jarring and very, very unexpected. In this time that we're in, there's a lot of unexpected things that happen. You can't go to a lot of places that you are wanting to go to. Movie theaters, going to the stores require a lot of lineups. For me, trying to find printer ink was a really, really tough thing. Expect the unexpected when it comes. Number two, get out of bed. I'm a big fan of advertising. I have a love-hate relationship with it. And as a graphic designer, the Nike logo and slogan that they developed many years ago is just perfect. It's just do it. 3 words, so simple. Just do it. Get out of bed. I know it's hard some days. It's been hard for me, but we have to follow through. We have a choice to do it or not to do it. Not always easy. So that work that you have, that schoolwork, you want to finish well. You want to just do it even though it's super challenging. Number 3, pace yourself. And this is so key when you're training for a marathon. If you go super hard right at the beginning, you're not going to have enough steam to finish it off. So you have to figure out what pace works well for you. And if you need to take breaks, just take breaks. There is a finish line in sight, and pacing yourself is what you're going to need to get this done. Number 4, hydrate. When you're running, you've got to hydrate with water or other things. One of my personal favorites is blue Gatorade. And with what we're doing now, the whole point to hydration is doing things that energizes you and fuels you. And I know for a lot of you that's hanging out with your friends, and that's not necessarily possible. But what are the things that fuel you and give you energy? Whether it's, creating something or I don't know what it is for you. But find the things that will fuel you to keep going. Number 5, rest and recover. Now, perhaps some of you guys are going to bed like way too late and sleeping in way too long. I don't know what works for you. But as you are finishing this stuff up, we need to take care of ourselves. We need to make sure that we're getting the rest that our body needs so that we can function well, so we can navigate the things around us and the challenges that might even be there in our homes. Number 6, deal with disappointments. And there have been a lot of disappointments. I've been training for the full marathon this year again in June. And I found out that that was canceled, at the end of March. And that was super disappointing, especially because I'd been training for almost a month and a half already. And then we were supposed to go to Trinidad with a bunch of you, and that was disappointing. We were supposed to go to a conference with my team here at church. That was disappointing. And there have been weddings. There have been all kinds of things. And the biggest one for you grade 12s, I would imagine, is graduation. And that's going to look completely different. But we've got to deal with our disappointments. And how we do that could be different for everybody. But it's something that we have to do, again, in order to finish well.
So this is a little bit of a strange part in the video. I got home tonight and I was editing the video and I realized, oh my goodness, there were 2 times when I forgot to hit record on the video, so I actually didn't have those segments. So I needed to record them now, which I'm doing here in my kitchen. So we're just going to go right to number 7, which is endure the wall. If you're wondering what the wall is, it's that time in a runner's run where they kind of are depleted of their energy. Their muscles are just saying, you know, I can't do it anymore. And so they'll either slow their pace or maybe they'll even start to walk. And I'm really proud of this. In 2012, I ran the full marathon again and I did finish it. Now my goal wasn't to beat my time that I'd done before. I had just finished my battle with cancer and recently had chemotherapy, so it was just something that I really wanted to push myself to do. And so around the 22-mile mark, I did hit the wall, and this is a photo that was taken by a friend. What happened here shortly after this photo, I thought, I'm not gonna run anymore, and so I walked the rest of the way. I knew I was gonna finish, but I was okay with that, and I had definitely hit the wall on that one.
And so we find ourselves in this situation that certainly is hard and it does have its challenges, but sometimes we find ourselves in circumstances that we can't change. However, what we can do is we can change the attitude that we have and our response to it. And so when you're running a marathon or a half marathon or any kind of race, you have a choice. You can quit, or you can put one foot ahead of yourself and then another one and then another one and keep going. Perhaps some of you have hit a wall, and I just want to encourage you guys to keep going, to push on, to move forward in this. Now there's a great verse in Hebrews that talks about endurance, and it goes like this. So then, with endurance, let's also run the race that is laid out in front of us, since we have such a great cloud of witnesses surrounding us. Let us throw off any extra baggage, get rid of the sin that trips us up, and fix our eyes on Jesus, faith's pioneer and perfecter. He endured the cross, ignoring the shame, for the sake of the joy that was laid out in front of him, and sat down at the right side of God's throne.
Again, we're in my kitchen, but did you see what it said there? Jesus endured the cross. In fact, he asked beforehand if there was any other way that this could be done, but he followed it through to completion. And his final words on that cross were, "It is finished." And we know the story continued from there, where he came back to life, conquering sin and death, and in doing so gave us eternal hope for the future. Now, as you guys finish your school year, there's about 6 weeks left. We as your leaders just want you to know that we are praying for you, we are cheering you on, and we just want to encourage you to take it day by day, one step at a time.
We're going to close with a clip from a movie called Cool Runnings. This is a true story about a group of Jamaicans who decided they wanted to try qualifying for the Winter Olympics, even though they had never stepped foot on snow. And so in 1988, right here in Canada, in the Calgary Winter Olympics, they were the first Jamaican bobsled team. And the clip starts off where they had wiped out closer to the finish line, and it's such a great example of what it means to finish well.
Reese, you're dead? No, man. I'm not dead. I have to finish the race.
Excuse me, please. Excuse me.